on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neil Rule. Darren McCarty, Joik Bell are both off today, so we went straight to the top. Welcome in my guy,
right.
T. Foss, Terry
Good
Foster,
to be here.
Detroit sports media legend. And Terry, look, man, we got a ton to get to, obviously. The Detroit Lions getting things rolling. Cut day. You know, every day is cut day until tomorrow at 4 o'clock. They wrapped up preseason play, which we will discuss. But first off, man, how was the weekend for you?
I had a wonderful weekend. I can never get my wife to go downtown Detroit. This Saturday, we had a double date with another couple. So we went to this place called Olin for dinner, and then we just roamed downtown Detroit, and I discovered some places I'd never heard of, like the Bad Luck Bar, which is in an alley, and I mean in an alley.
Okay, where's that at?
It's on Griswold in an alley.
Okay.
But you can't just walk in. You have to make a reservation. There's a guy that's standing in the alley. You have to give him your name, and then he buzzes you in. It's like a private club that's
like
not
a
private.
speakeasy?
That's, yeah,
like
it's
a
almost like that.
Prohibition era speakeasy?
And it's real cool looking inside. We went in and peeked around and stuff, and then we went to, I forget there's something market on, and had some drinks outside. So it was pretty cool.
That is awesome. That's one of those things, going downtown, I don't do enough, and I should. And you know, 3 kids, obviously, you know, 3 younger kids. You know,
kids change it.
They change the whole game. They do, certainly. But you know, that is something I need to do more. I'm not gonna lie about that. I need to do that more. But happy to have T. Foss in the house here today. You know, as far as me, Terry, I did the usual stuff. I mowed the lawn. My son went to spend the night at a buddy's house, so I had to take him there. It was 90,000 degrees outside, but that's when I had time to mow the lawn. And Fish was giving me a hard time. Fish is in the bowl, by the way. Art is back in the chair as well. Good to have Art back here also.
You know what? I do not do that manly task. I don't mow the lawn.
No?
No. I got a lawn service.
You know what? I've been bouncing back and forth on that. But I did buy a new lawnmower this year. I finally jumped into the battery-operated, battery-powered lawnmower genre. It's awesome. No oil changes, none of that crap. You push the button, it starts, you mow the lawn, you hose it down, you move on your way. But Fish was giving me a hard time because I like Liverpool soccer in the English Premier League. And he's like, oh, you know, you didn't watch the game? And I said, no, I listened to it on the radio as I was mowing the lawn, getting some stuff done. And I told Fish one day he'd understand. What's up, Fish?
I only give you a hard time because they're your team. So you'd think for your team you would stop, push things back, or do something before your team plays.
When you got kids, man, as Terry said, the whole game changes. The Liverpool game goes around my schedule. My schedule doesn't go around the Liverpool game. Like you know, they're my favorite team and everything, but I'm not gonna shut it all down. Especially if there's an avenue where I can listen to it on the radio while I'm walking around mowing the lawn, I'm going to do that, man.
Yeah, your favorite team becomes your child. So you got to make sure.
Depending on the day, that's not always the case.
Well, yeah, they get you mad, but your favorite thing, you got to take them to practice.
Yep.
Then you have to bring them home for practice. Then you may have to drive some other people's child somewhere. It's a different dynamic, man.
You know, it is. And my son starts junior high football today. Is their first practice, so. All that stuff's in play in Fish. One day you'll find out.
I have graduated from that.
I know. Yeah, you took your son to
I took my son to Michigan State move-in week. He is a sophomore at Michigan State. The daughter is a college graduate, so I don't have to run and rip and everything.
You've claimed your life back, Terry.
I have claimed my life back.
With all due respect.
And my daughter, God bless her, she thanks me all the time for all I did for her and the practices and making sure she was in a position to go to college and get a good job and everything. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is cool, the welcome week going on, students going back to college. And it is a fun time because college football starts, which it was week 0 this weekend.
Yeah, no, that's something new, the week 0 thing.
Which was dumb.
They did that last year, too.
Well, I understand why they call it.
No, it's week 1 because you play games.
I know you play games, but it's not in September. September is supposed to be week 1. Then when you go to August, that's week 0. But, you know, somebody just came up with something creative. They've played games in August before. In fact, I went to the Kickoff Classic in New Jersey many years ago. I was part of the Big Ten Skyriders Tour. And the Skyriders Tour is you went to every Big Ten campus and did like a preview of their football team. You spent one day at Ohio State, one day at Michigan, one day at Purdue. The only school we didn't go to was Iowa because Iowa was in the Kickoff Classic. So we went to see Iowa play somebody. I don't even know who they played, but that was that should have been week 0, but we didn't call it that. Then.
Yeah, it's week 1. If you play games, it's a week. It's week 1. That's it. I mean, I can't help. And I'm getting way more worked up about this than I should be. Like, it really doesn't matter because it's over now and we're moving on. But it doesn't change the fact it's stupid, Terry. That's stupid.
It's stupid, but we've got to label everything.
Yes, we do.
For instance, everybody now, we call them by their initials. You know, you are NR. I'm TF. There's BAs out there.
Everything's got to be short for social media.
Everything is short. But that's the way everyday life is now.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. It's stupid, but we'll move on. But we do get, I mean, this is a big weekend, too. T-Foss, look, it's known. You and I talked about it. I talked about it with the guys. The NFL preseason, I wholly check out of that. I watch the Lions for the sake of the job because we have to come in here and talk about it, which we will. And the Lions made a pretty big cut today, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. I do that out of respect to the job. I don't do that because I like it. I don't enjoy it. Preseason is something I think that they need to cut one more game off and make it 18 regular season games. And I know the implications of all that, where you got to get with the players' union and figure all that out. That's for your $1 billion entity.
Expand the rosters, and I'm all with it.
Yeah, give more people jobs, higher salary floor, whatever you got to do to get it done. Because this is stupid, and especially the way the preseason has turned, where literally nobody is playing. Jared Goff has played, 2 series the entire preseason? Matt Stafford did not play a down.
Right.
What's the point, man?
I'm wondering if they didn't play Jared Goff, not so much that they are fearful of him getting injured. There's this little dirty guy that's on my shoulder here who says they didn't play Jared Goff because they don't want you to see how bad he is.
But Terry, that Sunday, that's coming out to the public,
I know, but that will be the regular season, and then we don't have 2-3 weeks to complain about Jared Goff because he stunk right now, what's people complaining about? Penei Sewell, #1 draft pick, future Hall of Famer, all this stuff. He didn't play well. He gave up a sack. He gave up this, and they didn't like the way he played. So.
Right.
But he's a rookie, so you got to play him.
Well, that begs the question to me, Terry, and because that's the overriding story to me, the Penei Sewell story. And I'm not saying pull the plug. I'm not saying it's a bust. Don't get me wrong here, guys. I'm not going there yet. But just based on this franchise, and it shouldn't be like this, but I'll always qualify it and say I have a lot of PTSD when it comes to the Detroit Lions.
I sure do.
And I should.
You need some professional help, by the way.
Yeah. Well, we all do, right? The whole town does. And I've seen that before, Terry. And I'm in the middle, right? I'm right between a young person and an old head. Like, I'm right in the middle. Like, I remember Pat Swilling when they traded for Pat Swilling and they brought him here, who was one of the best, if not the best edge pass rusher in the NFL. Yes. And they traded for him, and they brought him here, and the next thing you know, Pat Swilling's only job in New Orleans, go get the quarterback.
Right.
That was it. That was all they told him to do. They bring him here to Detroit. He's covering running backs out of the flat now, pass protection, all that kind of stuff. It was dumb.
It was dumb, and to add to that, they gave up a Hall of Fame Willie Roaf.
That turned out to be Willie Roaf, who has a gold jacket now. And I don't, would they have taken Willie Roaf? I don't know. Well, maybe they would have because they had the issues with the offensive line. Certainly the tragedy that happened to Eric Andelsek, Mike Utley as well. Maybe they would have taken Willie Roaf.
Yeah, and I remember having lots of conversations with Pat Swilling. He was so angry that they had him in zone coverage and they had him covering running backs. And, he used himself in the third person. I just remember him saying, Pat Swilling doesn't cover running backs. Pat Swilling doesn't do zone coverage. Pat Swilling rushes the quarterback and scares the hell out of him. That's what Pat Swilling does. Now, this is the way he talked.
Yeah, I love
that,
by
he
the
was
way.
really upset about the way Pat Swilling was used back then.
Yeah, so I mean, this is the biggest story to me is the Penei Sewell stuff because, again, I just want to reiterate, I'm not saying he's a bust. I'm not saying back up the truck. I'm not saying cut him, trade him, stuff like that, like some of the people are doing.
But you're worried.
But I am concerned because what was the sell job for Sewell? The sell job was what? Plug and play, Terry. Remember those words? Everybody said, you'd use this draft pick, you plug him in the next 10 years, you never think about that position again. His next stop is Canton, Ohio,
well,
in
you
the Hall of Fame.
can't plug and play because they have him at right tackle, and eventually he will be the left tackle. So they lied there.
Yeah, I mean, and that's...
Or pulled our legs.
Yeah, and that's really where I'm concerned with because this was a dominant performer at Oregon. And already, you talked about the sack. I think the numbers were 1 sack allowed, 4 pressures, and 36 plays, which percentage-wise was astronomical in terms of plays where he gave up pressures and sacks. That was not the bill of goods that we were sold on it. And again, people, I'm not saying back up the truck, it's over. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'm concerned. And damn it, Terry, I think that's fair. I do. I think that's fair of me to be concerned.
You're saying back up the truck and open up the tailgate, but don't load it up yet.
Yeah. You don't even have to go open the tailgate yet. I'm just saying start looking for parking spots, Terry. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Just start looking for parking spots.
But the thing that we're going to have to watch out this year, which is hopefully a post-COVID year, which it probably won't be, but you have to look at guys who did not play last year in college. Are they going to struggle getting acclimated to the NFL?
And to be fair, that seems to be a continuing return of the guys that didn't play in college. It's taken a minute for them to get going, and that is fair. 100%, that's fair.
And the Lions already did that before. Mike Williams, remember Mike Williams,
BMW.
the fat receiver?
BMW,
right?
Oh, Terry. I was so fired up when they took Mike Williams.
No, stop it.
Terry, there's 2 draft picks. There's 2 Lions draft picks. And look, if you were ever fired up about any Lions draft pick, chances are you were a clown, right? I mean, in retrospect, chances are. The two of them, though, BMW, Big Mike Williams, and Aaron Gibson. Oh, I was sold on Aaron Gibson, man. Well, he could do this. He's 400 pounds, and he can do the splits, and he can dunk a basketball.
Right. Yeah,
and he's got superhuman strength.
But you know what? That's what the Lions do. They tell you all these wonderful things about people, but they don't tell you that if he can play or not.
Right.
That's a smoke screen.
But I knew Mike. Remember when he destroyed Michigan in that Rose Bowl? Threw a touchdown pass, caught a touchdown pass, ran a touchdown in. He murdered Michigan in that Rose Bowl.
But then he took the year off.
He did. Never
got
got back.
Fat. Well, I'm not going to say fat. He was plump.
He was plump. One of our good friends always talked about the Pringles effect with him. Now, to be fair, he didn't take the year off. They said that because Maurice Clarett suffered the same fate. It was like, oh, you can turn pro now. Oh, wait a minute, you can't. And then the rug got pulled out from under him. So I always cut BMW a break with that. But Mike Williams, if you're watching, hey, I was all in with you, brother.
And since you were all into Aaron Gibson, do you know what his mother did professionally?
No.
She was a clown.
Oh, we talked about this before.
Yes, we did.
That's right,
she
we did talk about
Aaron
this
Gibson's
before.
mom was a clown.
Professional clown.
Right. And he used to wear her big shoes.
Yeah, and it turns out I was the clown for liking the Aaron Gibson pick. But, man, I was sold, Terry. Oh, my God, I was sold. You know what else you should be sold on? Look, football's back. And if you're going to be getting that action in, I got something very easy for you to do. Winning season is back at mybookie.ag. It's time for you to get in the action. First-time players can get started by doubling your first deposit, giving you the firepower to add excitement to the games you love. Guys, you're going to watch it anyway. You watched Week 0, even though it was Week 1. You watched it. You know you did. You got college football odds boosts, NFL locks of the seasons, over $500,000, $500,000 in contest prizes live on site to make this winning season your best ever with MyBookie. A historic 18-week schedule offers more action than ever before. You need a sportsbook casino that's reliable. You won't find a better place to play than MyBookie. I know you're going to bet this season, so do the smart thing. Sign up with MyBookie. Use our promo code Woodward. Now, this is important, guys. Promo code Woodward. Get your first ever deposit matched dollar for dollar. Dollar for dollar. You have twice the amount of cash in that account. That's extra money credited to your account instantly just for using the promo code Woodward and make your first deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Get that action in, everybody, with MyBookie.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Welcome back to Big D Energy. Neil Rule here with T. Foss, Terry Foster. He's in for the fellas. Fellas be back with us tomorrow. And I got to clear something up here on the YouTube chat thread. Mike G said Terry Foster just called Aaron Gibson's mom a clown. Oh, my God. No, that's not what he said. Aaron Gibson's mom was a professional clown.
She was a professional clown. She had those big shoes, you know?
Yeah.
And Aaron Gibson used to wear them because his feet were so big.
There you go.
Now, I didn't say Aaron Gibson's mama a clown. I said Aaron Gibson's mother was a professional clown. She used to go to kids' parties and dress up and put on makeup. That's for real.
Yeah, absolutely. And also on the YouTube chat thread as well, MPWMU is clowning me right now. He says, Illinois is back, baby. Now, Terry, on Friday, I said, look, all the Big Ten writers, all the media people who I'm friends with, who you're friends with, I said, guys, pump the brakes because one team has to win when Illinois plays Nebraska.
Right.
One team has to win. Can we pump the brakes on the Nebraska's back or the Illinois is back? Can we stop with that?
Well, one of them were going to be on suicide watch. And I think that's Nebraska.
Yeah.
It seems like you can't bring back your star quarterback to coach your team to greatness. This doesn't happen.
We're getting a lot of examples of that right now. But I see I like that you played along, MPWMU on YouTube. I know. You're right. Illinois is back. Brett Bielema, man. Well, he got clowned at Arkansas. He's back though. Big Ten football's back.
You know what? Brett Bielema always wears those big ponchos. He actually looks thinner now because the eye is more vertical. Yeah. So at Arkansas, he had the big fat A. It made him look fatter. And the Wisconsin had the big W. Now he's got an eye that has a little slimming effect.
Yeah.
Barely.
Abraham,
he only looks like he's 350 now.
Abrahams and Donnie says, I'm not at all worried about Sewell. And that's fair. I'm not going to crush you for that opinion. I'm not pounding the table here saying, this is a bust. I can't believe this. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. I am just saying based on events of the past, which have no bearing on the current. I understand that. Different regime, all that stuff. It's just the way I am as a fan.
You know who else was a bust in preseason his rookie year? Herman Moore.
Really?
Yes. He couldn't see.
Oh, that's right. They had the contact situation. Yeah. I do remember that now.
So, but then his career turned out pretty well.
It
so
did.
Maybe we're seeing the Herman Moore of the offensive line.
Chad, but not that Chad, says Bobby Ross was more of a clown for drafting Gibson. But again, guys, like I said, I was fired up. Boss Bailey was the third one. That was the third most. Terry, damn it, everyone was fired up about Boss Bailey.
They just liked his name.
Everyone was fired up. Terry, you were excited.
I was not.
You were.
I'm telling you.
Come on, Terry, you were excited about Boss Bailey. Everybody was.
I was not. I thought Boss would be a bust.
All right, so the Lions have to be down to the 53-man roster tomorrow at 4 p.m. That's when the Reaper will come for everybody. It wasn't necessarily a surprising one because Dan Campbell alluded to this coming down the stretch of the preseason as the Lions wrap up the preseason 0-3, which doesn't matter at all. Rashad Perriman was cut, so the Lions decided, hey, we're going to eat the $2 million and send Rashad Perriman on the way. And Terry, that to me is worrisome in that he was going to be the one that you didn't have to worry about, right? The known entity, the quality guy that had a big season in Tampa Bay. He was going to be the guy that came in here and guided this wide receiver group, and now he's gone.
Yeah, now it's even more of a problem because he was projected by many to be a starter. Not the number 4, number 5 receiver. They thought he was going to start. So the fact that he got cut, and it wasn't like other guys were outstanding where they like, oh man, Perriman really did a good job, but not good enough for this team, so we got to cut him. No, they cut him because he's dropping passes.
Right, and the durability concerns, and that's something that really chased him around. Dennis asked us, Terry, who was the last Lions draft pick you were excited about? Who were you the most wrong about for Lions draft picks, if you can remember off the top of your head?
I thought was going to be good.
That you were locked in on, that you said, now this guy's going to be a dude, and he turned out to stink. Apparently I'm the only honest person in America about Lions draft picks. Those were the three, the Aaron Gibson, the Boss Bailey, and the Big Mike Williams. I was locked in. You got any, Terry?
I have to think. It's hard for me to be excited about Lions draft picks because they mess them up all the time.
That is true. That is true. But yeah, think about that for a few minutes. Dennis wants to know that, so we'll get him an answer to that question. But Brashad Perriman cut. Mike Ford has been cut. Elijah Holder, the safety, has been cut as well. And I think for me, there won't be any other surprises other than the Jelani Tavai saga, where you and I talked about it a couple weeks ago. I talked about it with Joik, Ballin' with Bell last week. We did the Najee Harris screenplay where I was so critical of Jelani Tavai. And Joik broke it down to where, it wasn't Tavai's fault, that there was another player that was involved that really had the breakdown on that play. But, again, just for me, talking about the draft situation, the Tavai thing, it's almost a no-win situation, right? If they keep him, fans are going to say, well, he's terrible. And if they cut him, we're going to say, well, that's a second-round pick wasted. Again, it's no win.
But Campbell and Holmes could say, not my bad. I didn't draft him.
But they did sign Perriman.
That is true.
And they just flushed away $2 million.
But if they keep Tavai as bad as he's played, then I think fans will look at it and say, man, you guys are just keeping guys just for the heck of it. You're trying to save money, or you're not concerned about having the best team. You're just keeping guys out of obligation, out of contractual things and things like that. So I think the way this town is, they are forced to cut Tavai.
Yeah.
The dude was bad this preseason.
Right. And no one's railed against him harder than me. It's not there. And it's nothing. It's never anything personal. Like, I'm never one of these dudes that's going to stand here behind a microphone and talk about somebody personally or anything like that. Check the tape, man. I'll sit down and break tape all day long with people, and we can isolate Tavai film, and you tell me where the plays are. You're a second-round pick. You're supposed to make some plays. When's the last Jelani Tavai play? I'll wait.
I don't know. But here's the thing. A second-round pick, when he was selected, they didn't even have game film on him. I'm talking about ESPN. They had to do a still picture.
It was all graphic-based.
Yeah, they didn't know who this guy was. Mm-hmm. So what the Lions did, as they do often, try to be the smartest guy in the room, and they said, we got this guy. He's going to be a steal because he's big. We're getting him because he's big. Now, a lot of times when you're big, guess what else you are? Slow. In the NFL, when I was growing up, when I was a young whippersnapper, big teams used to scare the bejabbers out of me. Now, fast teams scare me.
Right.
So, in other words, it's better to be fast than big in today's NFL.
It is.
And Tavai he's big. He's just a big guy. You plug him on, nobody's going to get around him. Well, everybody's blowing around this dude. So, I think the Lions have to release him for credibility.
Yeah, I agree. And, there's been some updates to the roster cuts. Tyrell Crosby has been let go. Dan Skipper. Victor Bolden, the wide receiver, Damian Ratley, so a couple of wide receiver cuts, Miles Brown. And, again, there's nothing shocking there. The only news that's left is Jelani Tavai's fate, and that's really it. And to me, Terry, it doesn't even matter when you boil it all down, because I think we have 17 preseason games coming for this. I think the writing is on the wall. I know by nature everyone gets excited when preseason starts, right? There's hope. What sells the most? Hope. Religion is a hope-based. Hope sells. The hope and fear, right? Hope and fear sell.
No, for hope and stupidity.
Right. But for me, it really took a turn this last week of preseason for the Lions. Just when you start talking about Perriman being cut and Tavai, just the lack of talent that's here. And I know that's an indictment on the previous regime. I understand that completely. thoroughly. And I've talked about the whole time. You and I talked about it again. Brad Holmes, the draft capital that's been acquired, I'm a fan of. And I love the way that he's lining things up in that respect. But the cupboard is bare. This is a total teardown and rebuild. There's nothing here, Terry.
No, there's nothing here. And the thing that Brad Holmes is doing, which is smart, but it's going to be to his detriment in the short term, he's not saying, okay, here's all the mistakes that Quintricia made, and I'm going to fix them. No, he's saying, this is the way I want to build a football team. I want to build a solid defensive line, a solid offensive line. I'll get my quarterback whenever, and I'm going to try to build it the way that I see it should be built, rather than saying, here's all the mistakes these clowns made. Let me patch them up right now. And you know what? Maybe in the short term it may get you a win or two, but in the long term you're still going to fall flat.
Right, and I think we're seeing right now just how bare that cupboard is too, because these names, and it's just a total lack of talent, man. It is, and Brad Holmes walked into this situation. Dan Campbell walked into this situation, and the writing was on the wall. And for a split second, as all fans do at the beginning of preseason, I found myself thinking about that, having that thought process. Well, if this goes right and that goes right, and Rashad Perriman's good, and you get a career year out of him, maybe you could do this. And Jared Goff has flashes, and he's won big games in his career.
Yeah, with a running game, with a real team around him.
Right, with Ndamukong Suh on defense and Aaron Donald on defense, and
right.
That's talent. That's dudes around him. It's bad. And the writing was on the wall when Dan Campbell got a 6-year deal. That was unheard of for coaches at the time, and he was insistent on it from what my understanding was. And he's a smart guy. I mean, Dan Campbell is a very smart guy in that respect, because he knows. Brad Holmes knows.
Yeah.
They know what they're walking into.
Despite what they say, it's a good organization. This is where I want it to be. Deep down, they're saying, yeah, that's true, but this is a clownish organization. I need more time.
Right.
This can't be a 3-year plan. It's got to be a 4, 5, 6-year plan. They're going to have to stick with these guys, even if they're mistakes. Even if they are a mistake, because they committed to them, and you pull the plug too quickly on them, then they'll probably the Lions, knowing that they'll probably hire the next Quintricia,
right,
and screw that up.
Terry, a lot of talk about your shirt here on the YouTube chat thread as well. Along Thies says, "Nice shirt, Terry." That is pretty strong, man.
Okay, my kids like this shirt.
I do too. We got to get you a fedora though. We gotta get you at either a dog track in South Florida or a highlight match.
Yeah, it's true. Well, my fedoras are spread all over the house because I went out on my big date this Saturday, and I couldn't find my hats.
You know what though? Real talk, that's cool that you guys did that, man. For real. That's cool. You guys went out and did the double date scene. It's cool you could claim your life back too from your kids. With all due respect, look, I love my kids.
I just picture Terry just like, "Where's my fedora? Where's my fedora?"
Doesn't it look like it looks like he needs like a program rolled up, tight,
yep,
like in a wad, and it's got to be he's got to be at the highlight match or at the dog track in South Florida.
Guess what I'm gonna wear next week? I'm gonna wear my highlight match hat.
Let's go, Terry. Let's go. Would you be more comfortable at betting on highlight or dog races?
Oh, man, I just lose my money in either one. But you know what? Maybe I'm better off with the dog races, because you could kind of look at some dogs and say, this dude's got no shot. So you can eliminate like half the field. Then you got to figure out the other 4 or 5 dogs that have a shot at winning.
Yeah, I mean, we got to get that look going. That's all I need. That's all I need. What you needed, the air conditioning game, certainly was something very, very big over the weekend. Man, it was hot out there. And if you're thinking about, hey, what should I do with my life? Maybe should I start a new career? If you're a youngster thinking, what can I do, as far as my life's work? You want to make sure that you're always in business. Start a new career in an industry that's always essential, the heating and cooling industry. Learn more today by visiting northwesterntech.edu.
Opa! Introducing Papa Romano's new Greek pizza, a tasty blend of bold Greek flavors and Mediterranean toppings, including feta cheese and Greek dressing. Get a large Greek pizza for a limited time for $16.99. Order now at paparomanos.com.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device. Back at it here, Big D Energy, the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neil Rule. Terry Foster in the house as well. What you got, Art?
Yeah, I just want to let you know that I know we were talking about 11:45, but easy. Mr. Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley himself is on the line if you want to take him now, or you can pull a celebrity move and make him wait 15 minutes.
Should I do that? Just have him stand by?
Just, hey, thanks for joining. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
No, yeah, if Easy's there. Is he still in Cleveland, by the way?
I think so.
He was in the house, man.
He'd be offended and thinks everybody here hate him, so be careful about making him wait.
No, bring him on,
He's
man.
a sensitive guy.
Easy's my guy, man. I love talking to Easy.
Have pizza with him once a month.
I found myself getting more involved with this than I thought I would. The Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley fight went down last night. Easy was on the scene. Easy, break it down for us, man. I mean, what was the environment like? I got to admit, I was into it.
Yeah, I was too. And I get, like, my perspective was a little different because I was there live, in the audience, and the crowd was roaring, man. And in the city of Cleveland, in all due respect to, like, what I thought of it before, it's way nicer than I thought originally. Like, Cleveland's actually pretty nice. But the crowd was amazing. I think the platform that Jake Paul provided to other boxers like Cleveland native Montana Love, I think that kid stole the show. I don't know if you were able to, to watch that fight. If you watched the whole card, Montana Love, I believe, was the 2 fights before the main event. And, I think him being able to be on that platform and showcase his talents, that was an amazing fight itself. But last night was awesome.
Now, did he legitimately win? Because, sometimes they shortchange brothers in these fights, you know what I'm saying?
No, I think Jake won. Jake was a lot more active as far as, like, landing punches. Tyron had an opportunity where I truly feel like myself and, like, others, too, that were there, in the media row, but he could have finished the fight. And, I mean, Art knows, towards the end of his MMA career, he's been kind of known for being gun-shy. And he had those moments last night still because I don't know if you got to watch it or not, Neil or Terry, but there was one point where, there's an extra rope. There's 4 ropes where sometimes, there's usually 3. If there wasn't that 4th rope, Jake Paul would have went through it and would have been a TKO because he definitely got put on it pretty nice.
What was the media, I guess you would say, what was the big media takeaway with Jake Paul's actual boxing skills? Because what Tyron Woodley was able to do was expose him because as you talked, he had moments in that fight where I thought Jake Paul was going to end up going to sleep. What established boxing media? That's what I want to know because you said they were all there. I mean, they were all down there in Cleveland. As far as that goes, what was the big takeaway as far as Jake Paul's boxing skills? Not necessarily the result, just his game.
So I got to talk with Tyler and Ellie from ES News. They're a big boxing outlet and Fight Hype, and it is what it is. Jake's a new green boxer. No one's calling him Ali. No one's saying he's great or like the best. But as Tyler specifically said, he's ready to go back to like regular boxing. Yeah, that was words from ES News and those guys. But at the same time, there's other guys that were there that liked what it was. The guys from Boxing Social and BT, they said before the fight happened, they kind of wanted him to win just so the circus continues because it's brought some light to the sport of boxing. These guys, again, on the undercard are getting some love too.
Yeah, and
I'm a bad guy. I wanted him to lose.
Well, see, Terry,
I'm tired of him.
That's where I'm conflicted, Terry. And I'll get your take and Easy's take on this because I'm a big boxing guy, and I always have been. And boxing to me was the one thing that I was a fan of, right? Like I don't work in that industry. I can just be a fan. I can just drink a beer and watch the match. I'm conflicted because I know it's a circus. I know that. But it is a lot of love for the boxing game. I mean, it is keeping it relevant. I go back to when Floyd Mayweather fought Manny Pacquiao, and that was when the UFC was really at its height, and people said, "Oh, boxing's dead." But when you saw that airport in Las Vegas, Tom Brady's jet was there. I mean, it was as relevant as it ever had been. And the most sold pay-per-views of all time, it's littered with boxing matches, not UFC matches. So I'm just happy to see the sport still has some cachet. But Terry, should I feel dirty that I'm encouraging this, I guess, for boxing's sake?
I think now you don't have to feel dirty, because now, for the first time, I'm going to give this guy love. He's legit. He survived this fight. He won it. Now I'll admit, I wanted him to lose so he would just go away. So, you know, he got his butt kicked. He moves on. All these young kids around here don't have to talk about Jake Paul or what's his brother's, or his brother.
Paul?
Logan Paul. I wanted them to go away because I don't think they earned their stripes. They just rolled in and just started making lots of money. And I don't like that unless it's happening to me. But now I got to say, okay, this dude is legit. He belongs in the ring. So next time he fights, I might even watch.
What's your take on that, Easy?
I mean, the way, like, I understand it, right? He's not the greatest, but you got to look at it. Like, he's only 4 fights into his career, you know? Like, we shouldn't expect him to be the greatest. But I respect that, at only 4 fights into his career, he's headlining Showtime pay-per-views. You know, that's insane. And like you said, like, ultimately it's entertaining. Like, last night, on the way back to the press box to grab my phone charger, there was a fight in the hallway. I stopped to watch.
We like fights,
You know, but, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, no matter the skill level, like, I'm going to watch violence. You know, I'm you know, like you said, it entertains me, man. I like watching fights.
Yeah, I mean, I like professional fights with, like, medical people on site, you know, and proper referees.
But Neil, if
and
you
all
see
that
somebody
stuff.
thumping in the supermarket, you're gonna sit and watch.
No, Terry,
Yes, you are.
Terry, I don't like that, man. I want it to be professional. Like, I want them fighting for money. There's something noble in fighting for money.
Okay,
to me.
There's one watermelon in the supermarket, and 2 women go after it, and they start fighting.
All right,
come on.
I would probably watch that.
Yeah, you'll watch that.
The pudding out of his carton.
Right.
No, I would probably
throw
watch
some
that.
Jello on them and let them go.
Easy. What about this one here? And Harrison Metzler on our YouTube thread says, so when is Jake Paul actually going to fight someone that's a boxer and you know, like, in his game right now? When is that going to happen? Have you heard discussion about that? What's next, I guess?
So the big thing they're trying to hype up this weekend was Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury, which is the little brother of, as we know, the heavyweight champion Tyson Fury. He fought in the same card last night too. He fought against the MMA featherweight, and only fought 4 rounds, which is kind of weird. We never really got, like, an exact reason why their camp wanted that, but that looks to be the matchup. They had a little face-to-face in the hallway. But to be fair, again, like, looking at boxers in the beginning of their careers, if you look at Tommy Fury's record, yes, he's fought boxers, but you look at their records, I think there's only a total of 4 wins out of his 7 opponents that he's fought in boxing with a 7-0 record. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what boxers do in the beginning. And all due respect to, like, the greats, but I'm sure anybody wants to do some homework or research on it. You look at their first 4 opponents, or you know, a couple of guys they fought too.
No, they were tomato cans. You know? Let me go back to the day. Yeah. Tommy Hearns, love Tommy Hearns. When he fought every month at the Olympia, it'd be like, you know, Bruce McGillicuddy, professional record of 4-7 or 6-23 or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, you're supposed to, you know, you get rid of the tomato cans and you get higher and higher and higher, and then one day you fight for the championship or a belt.
Yeah, well, Easy. This is a business too, and I think people forget that. If you're Jake Paul, this is your product.
Yeah.
And anytime you can squeeze the rag and get more water out of the rag, you do it. And I think it's set up very nicely for him to be in a situation where I don't want to say that Woodley was an inferior opponent, because he certainly was not. I mean, this is a guy that made his living fighting people for a living. So it's certainly not a quote-unquote inferior opponent. But if you can stack the deck in any kind of way to get another payday out of it, that's what you do. I mean, we've proven as a consumer that there's a market for this. We have. So if I'm Jake Paul, how can I extend this as long as possible? Because let's be real about it, Easy. If he gets in the ring and he fights Canelo or Triple G or something like that, just to give people a frame of reference, it's over.
Yeah.
If he gets knocked out in 35 seconds, it's over. All of it. All the cachet, the big paydays, everything's gone. So there's a lead up to this.
I think it's unfair, though, because here's why. Back in the day, okay, easy before you were born, here's how you became a professional boxer. You fought in the amateur ranks. You would be like 66-5 or something like that, and they say, okay, you're going to turn pro. So you would fight in your hometown every other month or, 5 times a year. You build that record up to 15-0. Then you would fight for a championship. You didn't get paid. I mean, you'd get paid $5,000, $6,000. Jake Paul has started making huge money right off the bat. Yeah. That part is what annoys me. This could never happen in the 70s or 80s because we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have the internet. He's making his money because he's got all these followers. That's what's happening now. So I think it's a little unfair. This is for you young people. This is what you young people have created. So God bless you. I'm out though.
Yeah, but but at the same time, I guarantee if one of those movie stars from back in the day, from those black and white movies, jumped into boxing, he'd be doing the same thing,
Yeah, well, Bruce Lee tried to do it, and Muhammad Ali fought a Japanese wrestler. So I mean, there's been farces before.
There's been cash grabs throughout the history of time.
But they established their names the legit way.
Terry, you're the old guy on the lawn
I'm
right
old,
now,
man. I can't help it.
You're the old guy on the line. But you know what? Good for them. Good for Jake Paul. He's not my thing. Like I don't necessarily like quote unquote root for him in these fights, but this is the generation we are now, and you can create things out of nothing. So easy, like for me, man, good for him.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like I would do the same exact thing. You know what I'm saying? Given his platform, each and every one of us, we can't be mad. You have to respect that. Like this kid made a living from just making videos about himself, and now he's gone to fighting and he's making millions of dollars doing it, and he's carried an undefeated record into it as well. It's honestly, it's impressive.
Easy, I got a big question for you. Now that you officially know that I'm an old curmudgeon, are our pizza dates done now, or what? What's the status of that?
I mean, I think a curmudgeon sounds like a pizza topping, so I think we're still on.
Okay, good.
There you go. Well, Easy,
curmudgeon and pepperoni.
Easy, I appreciate you, coming on and breaking it all down for us, man. You put in a lot of work out there. You were on the scene. Again, big time effort by you, my friend. Appreciate all the knowledge, and I know we're going to talk again soon as this thing evolves, because I'll admit, I'm in. If he's going to fight Fury's son, I'm in. So, we'll get back with it.
I'll even be in.
There you go.
The
Did you guys watch last night?
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
No.
I'm sorry, Terry. I did.
That Montana Love fight was amazing, wasn't it?
Well, I didn't watch the prelims. Yeah. I didn't watch the prelims.
Man.
Easy. I'm not going that far, All right, easy guy. Let's pump the brakes.
Casual.
No, all right, Easy. Appreciate you, brother. We'll talk again soon.
Be good.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Easy. The man on the scene down there in Cleveland. It was a big time event. And, whether you like it or not, that's the time and space.
If it was really big time, it wouldn't have been on a Sunday night. It would have been Saturday
They're
night.
going that way, though. Because there's less competition.
I don't watch stuff Sunday night.
Yeah, I mean, they're going that way now.
Reruns.
That's the way things are going. Sunday nights become a prime. If you started early, which they did in boxing terms, they started it early. Like it did end around like 11:30, 11:45-ish, which is too late on a Sunday.
That's still early.
Yeah. No, but on a Sunday though, that's a big ask on a Sunday. So, hey, it was a big time event. Tammy Chin says on YouTube, I agree with Terry. I want to see Jake lose too, but in the end, it won't matter. He will bring in big money, and that's that's the story. That's what it goes on. So hey, that's where we are. We're a big event society.
And the world changes.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to keep up with it.
Yeah, no, you do, because that's where we are. You know where else we are? If you're ever out in the woods, you know what you need to do? Go to coastportland.com. That's what you have to do. You can use code WSN20. Get 20% off at coastportland.com. The knives, the lights, the outdoor survival items that you need. I thought about it last week. I went camping with the fam one night, tent camping, like the old school stuff.
You don't even need to go camping. We lost our power.
It's like camping in your house.
I got that flashlight.
Yeah.
It lit up my whole room. I'm like, this thing is amazing.
There you go. Go to coastportland.com. Be like Terry. Type in code WSN20. You'll get 20% off, folks. You never need the stuff until you need it, as I found out when we were camping. I'm going to coastportland.com. I'm using the code W. I can still use it, right, as an employee? Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely. WSN20.
They'll take your business.
20% off, coastportland.com. I believe in the products. You should, too. Go there today.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Back at it, motoring through a Monday right here on Big D Energy, the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neil Rule. T. Foss, Terry Foss in the house, Detroit sports media legend. D-Mac and Joy Bell will be back tomorrow. And yes, in my eyes, Terry, when you're in a 30 for 30, you're a Detroit sports media legend. That's what I'm aiming towards. I want to be in a 30 for 30 one day.
They last forever. They'll be showing that thing when I'm dead and buried.
It is one of my favorite ones, the Bad Boys 30 for 30. If you haven't watched it yet, you owe it to yourself as a Detroit fan.
Please watch it.
And T-Foss is in there.
Not that I get residuals for it or royalties or anything.
Yeah. How does that work? Do you get paid for that?
No.
Oh, you're volunteering your time and your experience.
You're a historian. It's the way they look at it.
Good for them. Good business model.
Oh, it is. No, they sit you down. I sat down for 2.5 to 3 hours for that thing.
Wow.
And they use probably 90 seconds.
Yeah.
Of that, and they took some things out of context to make it flow better. And I kind of understand it, but some of my good stuff is on the chopping wood floor. I wish they would have used this and.
Yeah,
but they use what they use.
I can't remember. Did you get filmed in the old factory, or were you in a studio or a house?
No, I was. I don't know the name of the building, but it was they were renovating a building downtown on Grand River Avenue, and right now it's where Parks and Rec restaurant is.
Okay.
And what it was is it's beautiful brick building, but it just crumbled and fell apart. And so during the renovation, they tried to find a spot that looked industrial, looked tough, and so that's where I interviewed, and that's where a bunch of people interviewed.
Yeah, and they had like Rick Mahorn smash the bricks together. It was pretty cool.
There was bricks cool. all over the place.
Yeah,
in fact, you had to have a hard hat to go in.
Yeah. Like, if you haven't seen the Pistons 30 for 30, go to ESPN Plus and check that out. So, T-Foss is in there, man. That makes him a legend. We were talking earlier about Penei Sewell, and for me, for my money, and look, I wasn't the biggest Justin Fields guy in the world, and it's apparent the Lions at some point are going to need to take a quarterback. Now, they will have the draft capital to be able to do it with the 2 first-round picks. That's what I keep reminding myself about. For as negative as we were about the Lions, is what I think about the roster today. And look, both things can be true. I can believe in the management, I can believe in the GM, I can believe in the coach, and have no faith whatsoever in the roster. That can be true. You can do both, because that's where I am, because I love the way that they have it set up. And I will say this, last week, this week, next week, all season long, the draft capital that's set up by the Lions, what they have is how they're going to flip this thing around. I tell you what,
I'll say it for you because you're too polite to say it. The Lions finally are a real organization.
Bing, they got with the times.
Right.
Yeah, they got with the times. They
were a fake organization until last year.
Sure.
And so now it's going to take a while for them to kind of pick up the pieces and build a real roster.
Right, and it really shouldn't take all that long. I mean, this isn't going to be an Al Avila. We're starting the rebuild 7 years later. you're still not at 500. It's not like that.
It might.
The NFL is geared differently. Where you have multiple first-round picks, Terry, they should be in the mix for a playoff spot.
I know,
in year
but
3. No
that's
questions
the way
about
the NFL works. But it's the Lions.
Right.
Always have to say, okay, this is the way it should go, but it's the Lions. Even though I think they're a real organization now.
Right. So I think that the comp that everybody's going to talk about here, people that were in the quarterback camp, was the whole Justin Fields thing, right? The people that, and I think Sewell was pretty much universally applauded. I would say 75%.
Yeah, I think people were calling for Sewell even before the draft.
Yeah, if they were worried about, hey, could he fall? But I mean, like Justin Fields, and we've seen flashes, and Justin Fields has made plays where you say, wow, those are big time plays, and he's got the dual capability. He can make plays with his feet, that whole bit. But right or wrong, Terry, Lions fans, as they look back, as they look forward, I think Justin Fields and Penei Sewell are going to be locked at the hip. I think they are, as far as Lions fans go.
Oh, absolutely. So Lion fans will watch the Detroit Lions, and they're going to watch the Chicago Bears and the LA Rams too, because they have a vested interest. They will look at the Bears by saying, that's the guy they should have picked, or nah, they did right in picking Penei Sewell. And you're going to look at the LA Rams because every time Matthew Stafford fails, they'll be thinking in the back of their head, okay, better draft pick. All right. Or every time he succeeds, worst draft pick.
Yeah, and you got to keep in mind, too, the Bears have Andy Dalton, and it's apparent he will be their Week 1 starter, so there's not a huge hill to overcome for Justin Fields. And the second he struggles, and look, the one thing that's universal with Lions fans, that's the same with NFL fans everywhere, the backup quarterback's always the most popular guy on the roster, because the second there's struggles, everyone's happy if you're winning, because if your quarterback's playing good, you're winning, everybody's happy. If the quarterback's not playing well, you're losing, everybody's pissed off. So Bears fans will turn on Andy Dalton with the quickness.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. And here, the most popular quarterback might be Justin Fields.
That's fair.
You know, it's like, that's our guy.
Yeah.
Why is he with the Bears?
And Charles McClain says on the YouTube thread, says Fields could not even beat out the Red Rocket, so how would he beat out Goff? I think that's by design a little bit.
Yeah, they always give the veterans the upper hand. You got to beat him out. It's like a boxing match. You can't win by decision. You got to knock the guy out. Or teams know the proper thing to do. Technically, it would be to sit a rookie quarterback a year or two.
Right.
But they're not going to do that. So then what they do is we have a veteran. We're going to play in the first 6 games. We're not going to let you know. And then the rookie comes in.
Right, and they'll probably do the bit where they bring them in at home, not even start them. They'll bring them in. They'll get the big ovation. They'll warm them up as much as they can.
The perfect scenario: bye week, and then the first game after the bye week is a home game.
Right,
and then you do that. Now, supposedly, Gardner Minshew was in a battle with Trevor Lawrence down in Jacksonville, supposedly.
Right.
So
they traded him.
So what happens is he loses the job, and they trade him. They didn't trade him. They traded him for a 6th-round pick.
Right. They gave him away.
Right. They gave him away.
Right. And that's what you're seeing, and Jacksonville's going to employ that. They're ride or die with Lawrence. That's what they're going to do.
Well, anybody would be like that. But Urban Meyer, to me, is a phony and a fake. He's like, it's nip and tuck. I don't know who's going to be the quarterback. It could be Minshew or Trevor Lawrence, blah, blah, blah. He knew what was going on.
100% he knew. I mean, yeah, there's no question. From one funky Lions fan, Fields played backups and people that will be watching football on Sundays. Good grief, wait till he does something in the league when the games mean something. And that's fair, and I get where you're coming from with that, but I'll also tell you this. The games mean something in 6 days. The truth is coming out. With Penei Sewell, with everybody, the truth is coming out. And we're going to see. And the 49ers are coming to town, and they're coming for blood. They want to win the game.
Right.
And Sewell will be out there, and as Drake said, we going to see, because we are going to see.
Here's why you don't I'm going to try to make everybody feel at ease. Here's why you don't draft Justin Fields yet. He doesn't have a team. He'll go out there and get killed. Justin Fields will come here and look terrible, and after 2 years, you're going to be saying, get this bum out of here. Now, if you draft a quarterback 2 years from now or next year, sit him for a year and let the Lions develop into a team, then he can come in, look better, and then you can say, you know what? That's my guy. I love him. Look at him. He's playing out of his head.
Right.
Justin Fields will come in here and get murdered, and you're like, okay, why do we draft this clown? Then you'd be bringing up, well, all Ohio State quarterbacks don't play well in the NFL. So you'd have to go. That's why you don't draft Justin Fields.
Right.
Now, if he came out next year, then that might be something you might want to look at.
Sure. And I'll cut the Lions management the benefit of the doubt too, in that they were in a position where they could have gotten one of these quarterbacks. Maybe their scouting assessment, they didn't like what those quarterbacks provided. You know, maybe there's that. Maybe that wasn't their guy. Maybe there's somebody like Sam Howell with UNC or whoever, Oklahoma's quarterback, whoever the flavor of the month's going to be. Maybe they like those guys better because they do keep up on everybody that's going on. And then maybe it was just because Sewell was supposed to be plug and play. And again, guys, I'm not saying it's over. I'm just saying there are some concerning things that we're seeing over the course of preseason games. And yeah, people, but you know what though, Terry? As much as I clown preseason games and don't watch and don't care, you are competing against people that are trying to do this for a living, that are trying to eat. Like, this is their job. It's either this or go do something else.
Right, but you can't look at a preseason game and say, you know what, that team's going to be good and this one is going to be they're going to struggle. You don't know, because a lot of times, if you really want to know if a team's going to be good or bad, except for this year, just look at the first half. If you're ahead after the first half, chances are you're a better team than the other team. Now, a lot of times, games are decided by people who are not going to be on the roster or are going to be sitting on the bench when real games are being decided. So that's why you can't look at a preseason game and say, okay, Lions are 0-3. That means they're going to absolutely stink.
Yeah.
They're going to stink because they don't have talent. It's not because they were 0-3 in the preseason.
Right, but I do, and I will give some credence to the matchups because, again, going back to it, as I said, two dudes that want jobs or a guy that either, Terry, you make it or you go you go work a real job. You become a regular civilian.
It's the Hunger Games.
That's exactly
that's what it is.
And when you take some L's in individual matchups, I get concerned about that because that's not what I was told.
Right.
I was told this is plug and play. And again, guys, I'm not jumping off the building. I want to keep reiterating that. I want to keep reiterating that. One Funky Lions fan also says T-Foss is right. The Lions aren't built for a quarterback this year. I'd wait till 2023. To maybe take a quarterback, and they list some quarterbacks there, but there's always going to be more, right? I mean, I work in college athletics, and I had a good friend of mine tell me, we were talking about one of the SEC football coaching searches, and he told me, he's like, Neil, there's always coaches. There's always going to be quarterbacks. There is. There's always going to be more.
That is true.
Yeah, there is. I mean, there's just all across the board. So, it's one of those scenarios for me. Again, I'm not losing sleep over it or anything like that, but hey, we're gonna find out though, man. That's the biggest thing to me, is we're gonna find out, and you're gonna find out against the San Francisco 49ers, and you're gonna find out with Nick Bosa and an elite defensive unit. Right. We're gonna know a lot right away, Terry.
Yeah, but you know what? When you look at the Lions' history, that's a game that they win. San Francisco is a Super Bowl contender. San Francisco wants to get off to a hot start. So the Lions would win a game like that. You get all these clowns like Fish and Art all excited, and then they go and lose their next 4 games. That's what they do for a living.
That's what the franchise is built on. There's no question about it. Hey, somebody that had a lot of talent, Terry. We're going to talk about them when we come back. Little League World Series champion, resides in Michigan. They beat Ohio to do it. At least somebody in this state can beat Ohio when it matters the most. We'll discuss when we come back. He's T-Foss, Terry Foster. My name is Neil Rule. It's Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. With historically low interest rates and 5-star service, you could pay your mortgage off faster without increasing your monthly payment. Get started now at 248-308-5000 or chat with us online. Call hallfirst.com.
Would you like to win a custom-built chopper while helping our veterans at the same time?
Then watch as we turn this bike into a one-of-a-kind classic chopper.
Watch the Call Sam Chopper Shop on our social media channels and get your raffle ticket today at callsam.com/chopper shop.
Back at it here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. T. Foss, Terry Foster in the house. My name is Neil Rule. Happy to have you with us. D-Mac and Joik Bell will be back tomorrow. Remember, the best high school football matchups are right here on the Woodward Sports Network. Coming up next Friday, Southfield A&T at Birmingham Groves. Last week we were out at Oak Park versus Orchard Lake St. Mary's. Professional broadcast. Great job done by Stick and everybody out there. Chad Bush on the call as well. You got professional announcers, professional crew, all of it. So if you're a big high school football fan, and Terry, I have to admit, they had the high school football games on Bally's, and I slid in there, man. I watched it for a little bit. Chippewa Valley with an absolute throttling in their game. You a big high school football guy?
Yeah, I watch them. Chippewa Valley's been a power for a while.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I covered some Chippewa Valley games when they were trying to become relevant, but they would lose to Stevenson's in Sterling Heights, lose to Romeo, lose to all those schools out there. They were just a run-of-the-mill team. Then all of a sudden, bam. Yeah. They're like a real legit team and one of the best in the state.
They pounded Catholic. That's Catholic Central too.
Yeah, I mean, you don't beat Catholic Central like that.
And they beat them down. So big time effort by them. My Fraser Ramblers got the win over Holly to start the season. We're back. I'm all back in, man. I'm back in with the alma mater, Terry. We're going to the state playoffs. We used to have it popping at Fraser. Unfortunately, Farmington Hills Harrison had it popping at the same time in the early 90s.
Yeah, they used to pop everybody.
You know, interesting story about that. So when I was in high school, like I said, we played Farmington Hills Harrison at Eastern. It was like the semifinals, and they had Nick Williams on their team. He was their running back. I don't know if you probably remember him, I'm sure. And he ran for like 275 yards. I mean, every time he got the ball, he took it to the house. They lost like 45-7 or something like that. And he went to college at Miami, and he couldn't get on the field as a running back there. He had to be a fullback at Miami. That day, when I saw him go to Miami, and they're like, yeah, he's going to be a fullback. And he went to the NFL and played for the Bengals for 6 years as a fullback in the NFL. That opened my eyes to how good professional athletes are, man. At high level, you know, Miami, the U, when they had the running back stables, and it was running back U and all that stuff. That showed me how good you have to be.
Yeah, they all dominated.
Yeah.
So
everybody there
it
did.
was pretty crazy. I remember one time I covered a high school game. It was Catholic Central. This kid, he was a junior. He rushed for 230 yards first game. And so I was talking to the coach, and the coach says, yeah, you know, he's a good contributor if he starts next week. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about if he starts next week? He says the jobs are open every week. You can lose your job it doesn't matter who you are.
Right.
That's the way we roll around here. I'm like, dang.
Yeah, and I was an intern at the Detroit Free Press back in the day, and I did some covering of high school games as well. Speaking of Farmington Hills Harrison, I remember Mark Dell, probably the most dominant player that I ever covered. I mean, they would throw balls up into him in triple coverage, and he would come down with it. They played Fowlerville in a playoff game and absolutely destroyed them. Last week, Joik and I were talking about this. I love high school clips of like Randy Moss or Barry Sanders. That's my YouTube wormhole where I'll go back and watch these dudes that were dominant in the NFL, and you look at them and they're 8 inches taller than everybody else.
Yeah,
I
the
love
quadruple covered, or a guy runs 95 yards untouched.
Yeah,
on a trap play, you know, some stuff like that. It's crazy.
Yeah. But speaking of dominant, the Taylor Little League World Series champions, as they beat Ohio, they were dominant in the Little League World Series. They got the win, the first Michigan Little League team to win the World Series in 62 years since Hamtramck did it. So that was pretty cool, too, to see Hamtramck, that team, you know, getting some pub, getting their run as well. But they were dominant, Terry. And who knew, man? You can beat a team from Ohio when all the chips are in the middle of the table. It can happen.
Just not on the football field. That's all.
Yeah, and in the fall. No, but Terry, I mean, this was a great story. And, you know, am I going to sit here and break the game down? No, other than, they had the 5-1 lead going into the last inning, and Ohio had the bases loaded. I mean, the winning run came to the plate, but in the end, Taylor got the job done, and it's hard to win elite-level games. But with all that being said, it's a good story, Terry. It's got to make you feel good.
Yeah, it does. And Taylor is a little baseball power outside of this. And what they used to do is they had 4 really good teams there, and they would beat each other up, and they send one team out, and they would lose. But they combine their teams some way, somehow, and so you saw the talent that Taylor has, or that area has, and it's always good to see the state of Michigan win something, especially for me. I'm a state of Michigan man.
Sure.
So I like seeing that, and and then when you beat Ohio, that makes it even better because Ohio, a little bit of a jerk state. I would say.
Well, Fish asked me, he's like, do you hate Ohio? He asked me that before we were doing the show. And look, the Detroit City FC fans, and Fish, you were here when we interviewed some people from the Northern Guard. They said they gave you a scarf, Terry. They want you to wear the scarf. They want to picture you wearing the scarf.
No, they gave me 2 scarves.
Yeah.
And I wore one. I'll wear it.
Well, they told me, they said, you got to get Terry wearing the scarf. I need a picture of you, Terry.
All right. In the fall. I was too hot now.
Yeah, there you go. I'm
not wearing a scarf when it's 99 degrees out.
So all the Detroit City fans out there, he's committed. He's locked in. T. Fossil, he's a man of his word. His word is stronger than oak. So, he'll do it if he says he's going to do it.
But you know what? I hear from Detroit City fans. They say, Chief Foss, he's never been to a game. That's baloney. I've been to your games at Ultimate. I've been to your games at Cass Tech. I've been to your games at Oakland University, and you play somewhere else. I can't remember. It was a road game. I went to one of the games. They still say, he never goes. He's never been to any of our games.
I feel like, Terry, and another time, I feel like I can bridge the gap between. I think we have more in common than we do apart. With you and the Northern Guard and the support. We're going to sit there. We should break bread one day. And
I'm all for food.
Yeah, absolutely. But Taylor gets the job done. They beat Ohio. And Fish asked me, he's like, do you hate Ohio? And yes, because of the nature of the sports teams and things like that. I respect Ohio State, because how can you not respect Ohio State and what they've done?
See, Fish must be young and naive, because he not only asked you, well, do you hate Ohio? And he said, well, why? Why would you hate? Why would you like them?
Well, I have family in Ohio, so
so do I.
Part of,
but I still hate them.
Oh, okay. Wait, you hate your family members or Ohio?
Little both, right?
Yeah. Okay. Try going down 75 with your little Michigan license plate and drive 65 miles an hour. You're gonna get pulled over.
Not going 65.
Right as 2 people with Ohio plates pass you by.
Yeah,
that's why I hate them.
So he asked me. He said, "Do you hate Ohio?" And I said, I like the sports teams and things like that. Yeah, I hate them, but I do respect Ohio State. But you know what it came down for me? And there is a hate of Ohio every time I cross the line. And you know what it is? What fuels a lot of hate sometimes? Jealousy, Terry. Mm-hmm. I'm jealous of their roads. I brought that up to Art, and he said the exact same thing I do. It's not even when you cross the state line. It's about 3 feet in front of the state line. All of a sudden, the road turns nice.
Well, you know why the roads are good.
Well, they have toll roads.
Toll roads.
They have toll roads, which I've always said, and I'm going to get bashed on this, but I don't care because it's how I think. I-75 north of Saginaw, all the way up to the UP should be a toll road. All the vacation travel. Hey, if you can afford to vacation travel and go up north, you can afford to pop $3 to ride on the road.
Should we do a wheel tax too? Should we do a bearing tax, a brake tax?
Dude, do you want smooth roads? Are you tired?
We've had don't even get me started.
We're not going down this road, by the way.
Said, fix the roads. Have we fixed the roads?
No, you know why? Because Democrats and Republicans can't get together. They don't want to make the other side look good,
so much.
And so
she won. She was the winner. Why don't we have roads?
In order to get good roads, you have to have the governor, you have to have the state senate, and the House, all in collusion.
Can I ask something? What about our registration? Like, we pay registration every year. What about the license plate? What about all this and that? And it goes to this and goes to that. Just like the Michigan lottery, and we're supposed to be funding the schools.
They do.
Yet they're shutting down everywhere.
Well, I can break that down for you because my
Please,
wife's in public education. This is a big fallacy that everyone buys into.
Yeah.
The lottery was never in addition to school funding. The lottery wasn't in place of school funding. So all the money they spent on schools, they took it and put it elsewhere and used the lottery money to replace that money that they took away. See, that was a sleight
they
of
lied
hand.
to no, they lied to us.
That was a sleight of hand that they ran. That was a shell game that they played that we all fell for.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say fell for it.
Yeah.
Cool. You know, like you got.
So your wife is a shyster.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my wife, like, you know, she think tanked the whole program.
You know, when they were talking about the lottery, there was a lot of people, you know, they were skeptics and they said, "Oh, it's gonna fuel our schools." That's what they kept saying. Schools.
But that was the shell game they played because they didn't lie to you because it was going to, but it was never in addition to. It was an instead of. They didn't promote that in the commercial.
So dirty. It's so dirty.
Yeah, but that's what
they do to us.
Look it up, man. And I know everyone, but I love that too when, you know, there's a big lottery jackpot or whatever, and they talk about all the tickets they sell, and the regular people are like, well, look at everything that's going on with the schools. How come more money's not going to the schools? Because it was never in addition to.
Oh.
It was an instead of.
I feel betrayed.
That's not what they told us.
That is not what they told us.
But it's not what they didn't tell you either.
Oh, that's such a crock.
Hey, man.
That's such a crock.
It's not my program. I didn't come up with it.
Ugh.
I'm just telling you guys how it really works.
Pull the wool over the public's eyes.
Yeah.
Sam Kim says, as an outsider, I feel there's no reason for state of Michigan to be envious of Ohio for anything except college football. The roads, too, Sam.
I
the
will
roads
say,
are beautiful.
I lived in South Bend, Indiana, and their roads were great. I never lived in Ohio, but I visited Ohio for a rock festival in Cedar Point. Their roads were great. So, do tolls help with the roads? Absolutely. And I understand that there's a proper procedure to go through to. But we have a governor who literally said, fix the roads, and the roads aren't fixed.
Well, they're not going to be done overnight, Art. Like,
it's been years. She's been in for 3+ years.
All right, here's what I'll say. No, there is stuff. The roads where I live are smooth. They fix those roads.
You live where they're paved in gold. I live where they're like you have to put bricks down before you drive over them.
Well, I mean, Art, to be fair, like, you know, there's been underserved parts of the community forever. That's not going to change.
Well, I mean, yeah, look at Flint. They still don't have clean water.
Absolutely.
So,
what do you got, Fish?
You know, I just don't understand the hate from Michigan and Ohio. What does Ohio have that Michigan doesn't have? That's the thing.
Are you serious?
Good college football and roads.
No.
Sports aside, I'm just saying the state as a general.
Why I hate Ohio.
Michigan and just as a state.
Have you been to a Cleveland Indians game?
Not recently, but yes, 2019 probably was the most recent.
They treat you like crap there. And then we come here and we kiss their ass. Say, hey, welcome to Comerica Park. We hope you have a good time. You know, the only thing, we hope your ball club loses, but we love you. And then you go down there and they throw stuff at you.
Well, were you wearing a Tigers gear at the end? Okay, well, that could be why.
They come up here with their little Cleveland, stupid little Indians gear, and we treat them like royal guests.
Well, I need to walk around Cleveland with you then, because I have not had bad experience, and I've been there several times. Like once a month.
I will help you find a place to eat after the ball game, and you know we take you out for drinks. And they go down. You go down there. They throw corned beef sandwiches at you. They're mean to you. So there's one.
Okay.
Two, the policemen, the state troopers always give you tickets. You can't go 2 miles above the speed limit in Ohio, and they give you tickets.
That is true.
And they had a football coach there named Woody Hayes. Mm-hmm. Woody Hayes would recruit in Michigan, but he wouldn't even buy gas in the state of Michigan. He would make sure that he would either fuel up right on the last gas station before he got to Michigan, or if he was low on fuel in the state of Michigan, he'd be trying to get that car to just to get to Ohio so he could buy gas there.
Well, but
they started, and here's the other thing.
That's common sense.
Guess what we should have here in Michigan?
What?
Toledo. Toledo belonged to Michigan, and they stole it from us. We got the UP in exchange, but Toledo,
which turned out to be a pretty good deal.
Yeah, we got waterfalls,
all the iron ore and copper.
The iron ore is gone now, though.
Is it gone?
Yeah.
So I think the common theme is simple jealousy, right? That's what I'm sensing.
I'm jealous. Like I'm jealous.
No, I'm not jealous. I'm just tired of being treated like crap when you go there.
No, I feel you. No, I feel you. You know what else I'm jealous of? People, when they go to get lunch, if you're going to get some pizza, if they're rolling out and they got some Papa Romano's pizza, I'm jealous of that, because Papa Romano's handcraft pizzas that have made them a Detroit favorite for over 50 years, house-made dough, hand-cut veggies, and fresh cheese make the difference. The same quality goes into all their pizzas, salads, subs, and pitas. I'm getting hungry right now thinking about it. I could go to paparomanos.com and order right now, and you should too.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Welcome back to Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule, T. Foss, Terry Foster in the house. Fish is in the bowl. Art is in the booth. We got it popping here on a Monday, motoring through. This show is flying by, Terry.
Well, a good show is supposed to fly by. A bad show, you look at your watch and say, dang, we only did 15 minutes? What's going on here?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like when you're in college, the class.
It just shows that you're a great quarterback.
Yeah, I doubt that. But anyway. We were talking about the whole Michigan-Ohio thing, and and certainly, again, props to the Taylor Little League for winning the Little League World Series. Great story. They'll have a parade in Taylor at 6 o'clock. So if anybody wants to roll out to that, feel free.
6 o'clock Thursday.
6 o'clock on Thursday.
We don't want people
Taylor.
going there today.
Yeah. I didn't say Thursday, did I? Good catch, T. Foss.
Yes.
That's why you're a pro, man.
Yeah,
That's why you make the big money. But, we talk about Michigan, Ohio, and it's always going to come back to football, because it always comes back to football as you see the final out there. The one moment of triumph over Ohio in athletics. And the reason we bring that up, and it's always going to come back to Jim Harbaugh, and it's always going to come back to Michigan and their struggles against Ohio State. And there was a story in the Detroit News over the weekend, Terry, that I really gravitated towards. And the reason I did is because I think that this is a very big signal of what's going on in Ann Arbor. And there was a big-time recruit, Sebastian Cheeks, a linebacker, 4-star guy that Michigan was in on. And a lot of people figured Michigan was going to get him and that Harbaugh was going to get him. And he ended up being recruited heavily also by a lot of teams, Texas, North Carolina. Ultimately, he ends up shunning Michigan and going to North Carolina. And that's not the news. That happens all the time. That happens to Alabama. That happens to everyone. That's not the news. The news is, the Detroit News caught up with Sebastian Cheeks and talked to him about it. And what he had to say was very intriguing to me. And I want to make sure that I get this right, because he said, this is a very easy decision for me. I think stability is something I've always looked at in the staff. And also for me in particular, there were some other things with Michigan that didn't really sit well with me, he said. And Terry, that should be alarming. And I didn't hear anybody talk about this. And I know there was a lot going on, and it probably got lost in the wash over the course of the weekend. But to me, that's a very seminal moment, I think, for Jim Harbaugh. And not because this guy's going to be the number 1 overall draft pick necessarily. I don't care about all that. It's the content of what he said, Terry. When he says coaching stability is an issue for me, I'm big in coaching stability. And you look at North Carolina's got it going right now. Mac Brown has brought some juice around to that program. They look like they're on the rise again, like the Lawrence Taylor and Dre Bly days, like they're coming back. But with all that being said, Terry, that's very damning to me. I'm of the opinion that's very damning.
It's damning from this standpoint. First of all, Jim Harbaugh had the longest honeymoon of any coach in Detroit area history. Even when he made colossal mistakes, people, these things happen, blah, blah, blah. I think finally for the first time, this recruit is getting the sense that the administration is not entirely happy with Jim Harbaugh. Now, we saw signs of it last year when they restructured his contract, but they still kept him. There is a shot, probably for the first time, that Emmanuel Ward at the end of this season, if he doesn't like it, will say, you know what, we need to go in a different direction. And you would think that Harbaugh would be safe because he was able to restructure his entire coaching staff. He brought in all his boys. He brought in younger guys, more hungrier with fresher ideas. But I think now the shine is off Jim Harbaugh. People see through him, and they see his flaws, and they see that his stuff don't stink. Well, it does stink. So, and I think that recruit, whether he visited there or talked to people, got a sense of that. Because you would never, ever think that there was anything wrong at Michigan, even though they didn't beat Ohio State. You would think Harbaugh had a contract for life. He was going to be there forever. But, after finishing 2-4 last year and, not beating Ohio State again, getting raked by Michigan State, I think finally people open their eyes and say, you know what, this might not be the guy.
And, I've talked about this for a long time, even when I worked at past radio stations, where how much more evidence do you need? And that's fine. I know people are going to say, oh, you're a hater and stuff like that. You can give me your opinion saying that I'm a hater. I can give you facts saying that he's not good at his job. Like, that's the difference. You're talking opinion. I'm talking fact. If you don't believe what I'm saying, go to Google and look it up. And the struggles are well known. But to me, this is it. This is the dagger. I mean, this is the Dracula silver bullet here. Because when you have a recruit, a big-time player that says, coaching stability was an issue for me.
Right.
And Tifos, this is a day and age where kids are going to the league. They don't care about any of this stuff, dude. They care about going to the league, and that's it. I would venture a guess that not every recruit thinks that way because they're convinced they're going to the league, so it doesn't really matter. But when you're expected, and I was told that you're going to swim, and I was doing radio. I was going up against you the day that Harbaugh was hired. I was doing radio on another station, and I was taking those calls. And you remember that day, there was no dissent. They had arrived, and they were on Alabama's level, and they were going to win national championships.
Yes, as in plural.
They were here. They were a factor, and they were going to. It was almost like the Catholic King of England. They were going to restore him to his proper glory.
No, it not only were they going to win championships, but how long was it going to take? 2 years?
No, yeah,
or
right
3
away.
years?
Yeah.
Right.
Right away. He was going to, and then he walks in the scene and wins with another guy. Has a 10-win season with Brady Hoke's guys. And then you're like, okay, now even more so. It's happening.
Wait till he
now.
gets his quarterback.
And we're still waiting.
Yeah.
And maybe the Andrew Luck thing, maybe that was just that. Maybe it was just a lucky break. Maybe that is the case. But still, Tifos, I'm talking about this because, again, to me, and maybe I'm making too much of it, you tell, am I making too much of this? I think this is damning to the point where I don't know that there's a recovery from this.
I think there's a recovery.
But they're not going to win, so there's no recovery.
But, yeah, they're not going to beat Ohio State this year. Michigan's season boils down, do you beat Ohio State this year? And from, reading the magazines and looking what Ohio State has and what Michigan has, there's no way in hell they're winning that game. Right. They'll be favorites to get Michigan State. They could lose that game, too.
It's been proven.
Yes.
If they can be 24-point favorites, it's been proven that they'll lose.
When Michigan State had their run against Michigan, Michigan was favored in every game. Go check it out. 6-point, 7-point favorites, because we think it's going to turn right back to Bo Schembechler days, where you beat everybody and then you split with Ohio State.
Which I don't understand, because it's a level playing field now. And that goes back even to the history of Michigan, where when you talk with Michigan fans, the one thing that they have to cling on to now, winningest program of all time. Nobody's got any more wins. Well, yeah, when you were the only team given scholarships, when there wasn't face masks on the helmets, yeah, there were a lot of wins then. We've dominated the series against Michigan State. Yeah, when they were a farming school, sure.
You never played games in East Lansing. You always play in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, I mean, all those things, and again, all those things are true. They're not what I think. That's a factual statement. So for me, I mean, if you're a Michigan fan And the tide is starting to turn. I'm looking at it right now. I mean, the live comments that are going on. Sam Kim says both Harbaugh and Scott Frost are in trouble. It's hard to understand why. They both seem like perfect fits. Benjamin Foe says Jim Horrible is terrible. But then through that, there's guys like Chuck Brewer who says winning means more than one recruit, which I agree with, Chuck. I do. But this is becoming a trend now. And the light is on, where coaching instability from the almighty Jim Harbaugh is an issue. And recruits see it. Recruits only see what they want to see, Terry, but recruits see this.
That is a dangerous thing. But the other thing about Michigan, when they hire somebody, it's always the greatest coach in the world. And they're going to stand by that guy until they don't stand by him. Jim Harbaugh, a couple years ago, Michigan was talking about signing him for life, a lifetime contract. The last coach forever. He's going to coach at Michigan to the year 2050 or 2500 or something like that. But it just hasn't worked out. And there's a couple reasons why it hasn't worked out. One, you have to look at the Big Ten. The Big Ten, back when Bo was dominating, was a joke.
Yes.
Tell me one team besides Michigan and Ohio State that was any good.
They beat Wisconsin by like 40 points every game.
Right.
Every game they played.
Wisconsin, who is now a Big Ten power, was a joke back then. I remember going to press conferences with Bo, and he would talk up Wisconsin. Oh, they're big and strong and physical. They can do this. And then after they beat their ass, he would come in on Monday. First thing he said, well, we knew we were going to beat them. But what about all this stuff you talk about? Well, you got to say that. So they knew Wisconsin was a joke. Northwestern was a joke. Purdue was a joke. Now, at least Northwestern and Wisconsin can beat you on any given week. And I'm throwing Ohio State out of this conversation. Right. But now those are two teams that can beat you anytime. Michigan State back then was a joke, but now they're dangerous, except for, maybe the last couple of years. But they've been dangerous for the last 15, 20 years. Iowa has elevated its program.
You never win when you go to Iowa for whatever reason. I don't know if it's the pink locker rooms or what it is, but you never win when you go there.
It is a pit down there.
Yeah.
And in fact, Iowa is one of my favorite cities to go to for college football. It's crazy there. And I was going before they were waving to the kids in the hospital.
Right.
So it was crazy then. The Hawkeyes are teacher. So everything has changed. Everybody has improved their program. Indiana was a team that if you didn't beat 60-0,
you fell in the rankings.
There was something wrong, right?
You fell in the rankings if you didn't.
Or then they got an offense, and so you beat them 60-20.
Right.
Now they can beat you. So all these teams who were jokes back in the day, they got little things to them.
Right, because things have leveled out now. I mean, that's why things have evened up.
Ohio State has gone from here to there. They have elevated their program to a level that Woody Hayes would never be able to get his program to. And in fact, one time I got to go to Ohio State. I was there for basketball, and the people there showed us around. This is what a football recruit goes through on the weekends. So they let us go through their little places, their little meetings, what they go through on a weekend. And there was even this private room that the recruits go to in this big restaurant. And afterwards, I said, if I'm just trying to decide between Ohio State and Michigan, there's no way in hell I'm going to Michigan. Not after this. Not after if they treated me all through this. They didn't even show me the women yet. The women are on the side too, but I didn't even see that. But I was just like, the way they treat you, the bells and whistles and all that stuff, they're about to rock.
Yeah, and again, I always talk about it because Michigan is TCU now. That's what they are, and there's a 2-decade sample size of it. They haven't done anything TCU hasn't done. And I know people are going to murder me on there saying, what are you talking about? There's no way. Stack up the resumes.
Yeah,
go take a look.
Even when they were good, they were losing bowl games.
Yeah. go take a look, man. I mean, that's just what it is. To me, I think that this is a very, very big deal. And I think this is, to me, this signifies the beginning. I mean, not the beginning of the end. We've seen signs of the beginning, but Terry, to me, this signifies the end.
I don't know if it's the beginning of the end, but for the first time, they will legitimately look at Harbaugh at the end of the season and decide whether to keep him or not.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just something to keep your eye on. There are going to be some big games for Michigan. We all know they're going to lose to Ohio State. They better beat Michigan State, and they better get Penn State or Wisconsin, get to that 9-win range. They better do it. They better do it, or they're going to be looking for a football coach. I mean, that's my opinion. We'll see how it all shakes out.
But is that good enough?
I don't know.
It
We'll see.
would mean you didn't beat Ohio State again. It would mean you didn't win another Big Ten championship. They haven't won one in 2 decades.
Right.
So he's won 11 games before. And, the Wolves were still on him because he didn't beat Ohio State. Let's look at John Cooper. John Cooper did a very fine job at Ohio State.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were solid. He didn't beat Michigan.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, something happened in my fantasy football draft that I need to talk to you guys about. I got to get Terry's thought as well. It was telling to me. We'll be right back. It's Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
And down the stretch we come here, Big D Energy on a Monday, Woodward Sports Network. T. Foss, Terry Foster in the building. My name is Neil Rule. Happy y'all are with us. If you're listening on the app, you're watching on YouTube, however you're doing it, we're certainly glad that you are. Appreciate all the comments as well. You guys fire off those comments, man. It's awesome.
They're trying to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, they certainly are. They certainly are. So, the Harbaugh discussion, getting a lot of chatter, as you might expect. But something happened in my fantasy football draft last night. And do a little fun league with the kids. Us, a couple of the parents, we get the kids involved. They get their own teams. It's for fun. It's a good time. Get some pizza, all that kind of stuff. So,
how much money are you going to win this year?
Me? No, I don't do that stuff.
Oh, yeah, all right.
I don't do that stuff. But anyway, so we're doing the fantasy football draft, and there's nothing more boring in the world than when someone tells you about their fantasy draft. So here, let me break down my positions for you. All right, a quarterback. No, I'm not going to do that.
No, I tell you what is more boring than that. Bracket guy doing the NCAA tournament. Here, let me show you my bracket. I got 15 of the first 16 right.
Yeah, my favorite, too, is the guy that texts the group text at 12:20 at the first media timeout of the first game when Baylor's losing to Stephen F. Austin 16-14.
Right.
Here we go.
I told you.
Here we go. It's
Nobody
over.
listened to me.
Yeah, that's my favorite too. But something happened in the draft last night that I did want to break out because it really was telling to me. And Terry, we remember in the not too distant past, like Le'Veon Bell was a beast, an absolute beast. So it was number one overall pick. Yeah,
yep.
Number one overall pick in many a fantasy draft. Like, no, I got to get up to the top and take Le'Veon Bell. Many picks. He was the very last pick in our fantasy draft last night. Mr. Irrelevant of our fantasy draft, I guess you would say.
The Le'Veon Bell that went to Michigan State.
The Le'Veon Bell that went to Michigan State. That
the
was
guy
a
that
beast
was with
at Pittsburgh.
The Steelers, that guy.
Yep.
Okay.
Todd Gurley didn't get taken. And granted, I know he's not on a team as of yet, but it's the NFL. He will be soon. Terry, the running back position in the NFL, maybe more than even childhood acting, chews you up and spits you out within the span of a half a decade. Like here's a great tweet here from Chad Johnson. 3 years ago, if I told you Todd Gurley and Le'Veon Bell would be unemployed at the ages of 27 and 29, you'd have told me I'm on crack. It just chews you up and spits you out. And Terry, this is one thing. When Le'Veon Bell was going through this, and I was doing talk shows, I said, Le'Veon, hold out and get every dollar you can get, man, because the carousel is going to stop spinning very, very soon. And lo and behold, here we are. It's just, have you ever seen anything, I guess devolve is the word, to what the running back position used to be the position of glory. And they were the guys that got all the money. And Barry and Emmett and all those guys, Walter Payton, they were the guys that got paid. You're disposable now. That's what you are if you're a running back.
And they've been disposable for a while. I remember I had a conversation with James Jones, who running back for the Lions. He was supposed to be the featured back that year. In a preseason game, for whatever reason, the Lions decided to run him 8 times in one quarter. The 8th time he blew out his knee. He didn't play that season. And so I got to talk to him a few times. He was really upset. He says, why do you run me 8? If I'm supposed to be your guy, why do you run me 8 times in one quarter in a meaningless preseason game?
Right.
And so he told me that we're disposable, that we don't matter, and that, if you're a running back, definitely, get every penny you can, because once you're done, you're done. You can't come back.
No.
Because you can't cut or you can't do different things once you get that first or second knee injury, that you're pretty much done, and that he thought it was a terrible trend for the NFL. Now, let's go back to Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders on his last contract, guess what? The Lions paid Scott Mitchell more, and they paid him before they paid Barry Sanders. Greatest running back of all time. He had to wait after friggin' Scott Mitchell. So that shows you what they think about running backs.
Yeah, it's incredible to me, too, because you have to have a running game to win in the NFL. All the teams that win the Super Bowl, to some degree, they have a running. You have to have a running game. What are the biggest plays of the season all time? 3rd and 1 when you have the ball, and if you get a first down, the game's over.
Right.
Those are the biggest plays in football.
And what could the Lions not do
ever?
At least the last 6 years.
Ever.
3rd and 1, they couldn't run the ball off tackle for 1 yard.
They can't stop people on 3rd and 10.
Right.
And they can't pick up a 3rd and 1.
Right. They had to pass. And people say, well, it's 3rd and 1. Why'd you pass? Because that's the only way you can get a first down. They couldn't run it.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's incredible to me, though, the way that position has changed. It's just, this is Le'Veon Bell, man, and people in the chat right now. Unbiased Sports Talk says Henry's the only established running back that will be relevant or dominant for 5+ years, and that is true, man. Maybe, yeah, you're right.
You know who's the next one that's going to be whatever happened to this guy? Ezekiel Elliott.
Right. He's already that way.
Right. Ezekiel, a couple years ago, it's like, all right, this is the guy. This is why the Dallas Cowboys are going to come back. They're just going to hand the ball to Elliott.
I thought that same thing, because he's such a physical specimen that he'll never be hurt. He'll be the exception to the rule. And lo and behold, man, you just can't take that kind of punishment from these kind of dudes repeatedly.
No.
350
look at
times.
Poor Earl Campbell. Yeah. Earl Campbell, in his prime, was probably the most physical, big dude that you ever saw. And they beat him up. You get beat up in the NFL, and especially at running back. It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, Sam Kim says Bell was the absolute man for a couple of years. Like I said, he was 1-1. Every fantasy draft was Le'Veon Bell. And last night in mine, he was the absolute last pick, and even that was a Hail Mary pick, waiting to see who he gets signed by, and then you're just at that point you don't really know who those dudes are in general.
Well, Todd Gurley was the Offensive Player of the Year in 2017. I remember having a conversation with my wife, and she said, who do you think the best running back in the NFL is? And I said, Todd Gurley. And then the next year, she asked me the same question. I didn't say him. She said, what happened to your boy Todd Gurley? I said, oh, he's faded.
It's over.
She said, that quick? I said, yep, that quick. He done.
It's over, and he's got like the whole knee situation going on, and the degenerative knee situation. So it's something where it's incredible to me, man. It really is, and that just goes to show you how dispensable running backs have become. Some other NFL news and notes: Deshaun Watson got traded to the Miami Dolphins, and there's talk, Terry, in the Dolphins camp that he's going to walk in and he's going to start. Like Drew Rosenhaus said he wouldn't be surprised to see Deshaun Watson start week 1 for the Dolphins.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Deshaun Watson. That's what I would do. He's more established.
The Dolphins are absolutely working on this deal with the Texans. There's obviously holdups with compensation. They want 3 first-round picks plus. That's not going to happen while he has an uncertain legal future. The Dolphins have to make sure that they have contingencies in the event that these legal issues become a serious problem. But I do think there's a legitimate possibility that the Dolphins will acquire one of the best players in the NFL in Deshaun Watson. And if he...
But the question then becomes, is Brian Flores, that he's the head coach of the Dolphins, is he interested in Deshaun Watson?
Our team, that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in, Reed Sinnett, who went out there and played, his butt off tonight. I'm interested in Jared Dokes, who we talked about, a second ago. I'm interested in the guys who, that didn't play today, that, we're focused on our recovery and being fresh for next week. That's what I would say. I mean, I'm interested in the players on the Miami Dolphins.
Which I understand, and Flores, obviously, he has to say that, right? Like, that's what he's going to talk about. But, you look at it, the Dolphins are standing up and rolling the dice. And we talked about draft picks that we were enamored with. That's where I was with Tua over Okudah. I was crushed when they took Okudah and left Tua on the board because I'm a big Tua guy. I'm a big Tua believer because of his accuracy. But the Dolphins see a window right now with making this move where they can accelerate the timetable on Tua with Deshaun Watson and be a factor because the Dolphins feel like they are a quarterback away. And that's as much as we just got done talking about the running back, the quarterback is the other way, where the Dolphins are going to push their entire franchise, the future of their franchise. And they're a team that's flush with draft capital. They have tons of draft picks, the last 2 drafts and the drafts in the future as well. But, Terry, they're prepared to push it all in the middle of the table on what I think is an even or odd bet. I mean, roll a dice and tell me, is it going to be even or odd? That's what I think here because there's so much uncertainty.
I think what Miami is showing is we don't have patience. I think eventually Tua will work out there. I know he's had some rough moments. He's young, but they're saying we don't want to wait. We're going to do it right now. We're impatient. Which I'm not dogging them for, but that's the attitude they're taking. Here in Detroit, it's all about patience. Right. Okay, you're a 3-year guy. We'll wait until you're 6 years in, and we'll evaluate you then. And Miami's saying, no. Let's get Deshaun Watson, and they could blow up in their face because we don't know what's going to happen with him legally.
Right, and Tua's a guy. He's 6-3 as a starter in the NFL, as a rookie. 6-3. 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, passer rating right around 87, 200 yards per game.
That's great for a rookie or a young guy.
That's incredible for a rookie because the bottom line, my big thing with quarterbacks, a lot like how people use whip for starting pitchers, I use records for quarterbacks because I don't care how you win the game. I don't, because winning the game is the only thing that matters. That was my big thing about Verlander, and you and I think had this discussion before. Why, I didn't love Verlander, and when he went to Houston, wasn't like, oh, go Verlander, win a World Series. No, you had shots here to do it, man. You didn't do it. You still have never won a game in the World Series. And I know wins aren't the end-all, be-all, but you know what? In the World Series, they are. Every time he got on the mound in a World Series situation, he was always the second best pitcher in the park.
All right, here I'm gonna be old guy for a minute. When I was first following the NFL, if you're a rookie quarterback, you always had more interceptions than touchdown passes.
By a lot.
Always.
Yeah.
No matter who you were. And we're talking about guys who ended up being in the Hall of Fame, 5-6-time Pro Bowlers. That's just the way it was. But Miami, nah, we're not patient. We're going to bring in just Deshaun Watson. We're going to roll the dice because their fan base wants to win now. They want to win now. And we keep asking people here with the Lions to be patient, and they're not telling their fans to be patient.
Right, and it's one of those things too where I see what they're doing. I just don't get the mad disrespect that they have for Tua. I mean, there's got to be like some kind of health situation or some underlying thing with him because the numbers are there and the results are the results.
Maybe you don't believe. You don't believe what's going to happen down the future. down the road. Now, there are some people who are rough on him. So that's why I'm saying this organization is not being patient. They've got a guy that's ready-made. If he's able to play, he's got experience. He can run. He can pass. He can do a lot of things. His college coach said he was going to be the Michael Jordan of the NFL, so you get him.
Yeah, and the Dolphins, like I said, they're ready to win now. They have a great defense. And it's interesting that they would make this move. And, again, I'm a big Tua guy, so it doesn't make sense to me. But we'll see. We'll see who's right, because I do believe Deshaun Watson is a baller. I do believe that. And we had this discussion before with D-Mac and Joik. I think when you step between those lines, all that other stuff goes away. If you're good at what you do, all that other stuff goes away. That's just the way I feel.
And the other thing is, too, is that there's levels to this, you know?
Well, certainly there are, especially, if levels are open. If levels are open, like they are in center line, you can come experience the next level. On Sherwood, between 9 and 10 Mile, we were out there broadcasting live. You can download their app today, start collecting points so you can level up. You can enjoy Levels. That's all you got to do. Search Enjoy Levels in Apple or the Google Play stores. Make sure when you stop by Levels today, you mention that Woodward Sports sent you. D-Mac's signature line is out there as well. So slide by Levels today.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Welcome back. Final segment of the show. Big D Energy, just like that, Terry. Powering through a couple of hours of sports talk. Appreciate all of you guys being involved on the YouTube thread. And, you guys, again, the support you show the show, we certainly do appreciate it. Terry Foster in the house. My name is Neil Rule. Happy to have you with us. And, a lot of Tua talk out there as well. So, fan listening in Miami right now. 9 drinks, as I'm only 30 minutes from Miami listening to the show right now. And that the discussion is about the hip injury, so we'll see how that plays out. But Terry, over the weekend, did you watch the Illinois-Nebraska game? Because Big Ten football stuff.
I got made fun of, but yes, I did watch it.
Yeah, and you should have got made fun of.
I probably 80% of it. Now,
Big Ten fans, man, they're a special breed.
Hey, I got made fun of by my wife. She said, "Are you watching Nebraska and Illinois?" I said, "Yeah, it's the Big Ten." She said, "It's not really the Big Ten. It's the Big Ten West. They don't count." I said, "But it's still the Big Ten."
Yeah, and Illinois and Nebraska don't count either.
I know.
Especially Nebraska. I mean, wow. That blew up in the Big Ten's face, didn't it? That whole Nebraska edition. Remember how groundbreaking that was? Nebraska's going to the Big Ten, and everybody watch out.
Right. But they said that about Penn State.
Right.
And Penn State has been solid. They've been good recently. But when they came in here, they're like run of the mill.
They had that big blow-up year in '95 when they had, Kajana Carter and Kerry Collins and smashed Oregon in the Rose Bowl.
But other than that, they've been all right.
Yeah. But people were watching it. They were, and I issued my statement where I didn't want people to proclaim them as back. What did you think? I'm not saying don't proclaim Illinois as back. Why do you think? Because I think I know where you're going to go with this. I think tell me if I'm wrong. You're of the opinion that Brett Bielema will bring Illinois back to a certain level of respectability. Not going to win the Big Ten or anything like that, but not be embarrassing.
Well, I mean, they won't be clowns. How about that? But I still don't have an opinion on Illinois because Nebraska, as usual, falls apart.
Right.
They make plays and they screw them up. That's what Nebraska does. They've been doing that for the last 3 years.
Right.
So it was like the same old, same old. It was like this is what Nebraska does.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, they have been bad since they've gotten into the Big Ten. And I know that people want to hide behind like the recruiting stuff, but the bottom line is this. They're not relevant. For everything that I talked about with Michigan, Nebraska's even worse.
Right, and here's the other thing. Hasn't Martinez been the quarterback at Nebraska since the 70s?
Who has been in college longer, Martinez at Nebraska or Tony Rice at Notre Dame? Tony Rice was there for a decade. I think he's got 4 degrees.
Martinez was there in 1975.
So he beat Jamel Holloway that one Nebraska-Oklahoma game. He got tackled by Brian Bosworth.
He beat. He's going to beat Miguel Cabrera for most years with the team.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just for one of those things. I just wanted to get the pulse and see where, if people actually did watch this thing, because I think a lot more Michigan and Michigan State fans watched this than they want to admit. They were
it was week 0, so you kind of had to watch. It was better than UCLA and Hawaii.
Yes, it was.
Watch that blowout.
Yes, it was. Chuck Brewer says, I think the SEC is going to get the same results out of Texas and Oklahoma that we got out of Nebraska. And I do think in the grand scheme of things that's going to end up being true, because Oklahoma's days of going to the playoffs are over.
Right.
It's all over.
Texas is a paper champion, but Texas brings exposure. Texas brings false notoriety. So it's going to help the SEC.
Yeah, but I think in the long run, though, Chuck is right. And I don't know if he was playing the long game like me. They'll get clowned because Texas and Oklahoma will be non-factors in terms of the college football playoff, in terms of winning national titles. Because Oklahoma's days, as I said, of going to the college football playoff, they're donezo, because you're not navigating that schedule. You're not winning all those. Oklahoma's not dynamic enough.
No, but
do
Oklahoma, here's what they'll do. They'll at least make it entertaining. They'll lose to Alabama 53-35 or something like that.
Yeah, it's fun. Like, I've admitted, I like that. That's the kind of stuff I like. I like those games. What do you got, Fish?
You'll be proud of me. I watched, last minute of San Jose State. Yep, I watched the last minute of that game.
Oh, against Southern Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. San Jose State getting it off on the right foot. And that's when we do our picks
Mountain
over
West.
the weekend. Yep. My Get Right special. I'll have that Saturday night Mountain West game for you, Terry.
Is it?
That's only on CBS Sports Network.
Right, can't wait.
Yeah. If you had a bad day, if the MyBookie app got the better of you, don't worry, I'll rescue you, Terry.
Can I ask why Mountain West? Like, there's Pac-12 at the 10:30 and 11 sometimes.
But they're not on CBS Sports Network
They
at
are
11
not.
o'clock.
You are okay. So
That's
just
why.
because
Hawaii's
because they're on CBS Sports,
Yep.
okay.
And Hawaii's in there.
Yep.
Boise's in there.
They get that midnight game sometimes.
Nevada, yeah. Like, I'm about that. I've told you guys, my goal in my career is to call a college football game for CBS Sports Network. I want that jacket with the CBS logo. I want it all. That's when I'll feel as though, Terry, like, I've done NBA games, and it's cool, and calling Kevin Durant's cool and all that stuff, but nothing will say success as a broadcaster is putting on that CBS Sports Network jacket.
Well, we wish you the best. I used to listen to those games.
I know. Everybody does.
Sometimes when in the car, some way, somehow, I would get it. If I was at a Big Ten school and decided to drive home after the game or drive to a real city with an airport, I'd be listening to those games.
Yeah.
It'd be like 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, and they're fun, too. Yeah, they're fun, too, because usually the games are entertaining. Usually there's a lot of points.
And they
all that
last
kind of
forever.
Stuff. They do. And it's one of those things for me, Terry. Like, I think I brought this up in the past. My deck, like, I have an outside deck with a fireplace, and it's my favorite room in the house, and it's not a room.
And it's not in the house.
But it's not in the house. But Saturday night, you get the kids to bed. I'll throw a couple of logs on the fire out there. I'll turn the television. I got TV mounted to the wall out there. I'll turn it on, and I'll sit down, and I'll watch that Mountain West game on CBS Sports Network that starts at 11. As you said, that lasts forever, and that thing goes on till 3:30 in the morning. But like at 2:15, I've made the commitment, and I'm not turning back now.
Yeah, you can't go to sleep. But those games, you could drive from Iowa to Chicago,
and it's still going on.
It's still going on. You could drive from Iowa to Indianapolis or whatever, and every step of the way, that game's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you give any more thought, Terry, about the Lions draft pick that you were excited for that turned out to be an absolute bust? Because, again, just to reset it for everyone, I was big on Aaron Gibson, who Terry told us his mom was a professional clown. I was really big on Boss Bailey, who we know didn't end up working out. And I was huge on Mike Williams, BMW, because of his destruction of Michigan in the Rose Bowl. I thought there was no way that he was going to miss. Terry, because some people Dennis asked me on Twitter, he wants to know, who was T. Foss excited about and was wrong about? Were you excited for Andre Ware?
No. Because Andre Ware had no touch.
Yeah.
And you could tell that in college. In fact, the only reason they started Andre Ware was because he won the Heisman.
Right.
There was no because he was awful in practice. There was no reason to start any game for him.
Well, Terry, he was bad to the point where I heard he was skipping footballs to the 12-yard routes or 20-yard routes. He would throw them and it would bounce to the receiver.
Yeah, but his main thing, he would be from me to you. He would just blow up your chest. He had no touch, and receivers going, "Oh man, they have like holes in their chest." Because man, I was just like 6 yards from you. Why'd you drill me like that? That was his downfall here.
Yeah, but who? Give me one, Terry. Come on, there's got to be one you were excited about.
Steve Owens, fullback, Oklahoma, Heisman Trophy winner in the 70s. I thought he was going to come and blow it up here.
And the numbers were just so mediocre. I do remember that.
Right.
Yeah, I do remember that. I collect memorabilia. I mean, I'm not like a sycophant about it, but I collect it. And Heisman Trophy winners are my big thing.
Okay.
And
do you visit the Heisman house?
No, I want to be someday.
All right.
Maybe that'll go hand in hand with getting to call that Saturday night game on CBS Sports Network. Maybe that'll go hand in hand with that.
If that's your dream, I'm rooting for you.
Terry Foster, you may be disappointed in me because I just now found out that was a thing. The Heisman House.
Still can't hear you.
I thought that was a commercial.
Fix the audio,
My mic's on. I'm on somewhere. But, yeah, I just found out the Heisman House is a thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was just for the Nissan ads.
It's a commercial.
Yeah.
Which
I do like those commercials. You guys like those commercials?
I do. I not as much as I like the Dr. Pepper commercials. Those are pretty good college football commercials.
Oh, they are great. I go to people all the time and I say, who's going to win this year, State or Tech? And they have no idea what I'm talking about.
State's going to win.
You don't watch the doctor commercial? Because they're thinking that, I'm talking about Michigan and Michigan State. It's always Michigan and Michigan State. No, it's a Dr. Pepper commercial.
Yeah, State.
We don't call Michigan Tech or anything like that.
We should. So, Terry, Michigan State, Michigan, they kick off this weekend. Michigan State will be at Northwestern. State's a 3-point underdog. Michigan will host Western Michigan. They're a 17-point favorite. In case I don't get a chance to talk to you again this week, give me the quick forecast. How do you think this thing's going to go for Michigan and Michigan State this year?
For the whole year?
For the whole year.
I think both squads will be irrelevant as far as the Big Ten chase is concerned. They're going to be run-of-the-mill. Maybe they might finish 500 in the conference. That would probably be their goal. Michigan is still searching for a quarterback. There's still something wrong with the brew with Jim Harbaugh. He's not connecting with his players. They have one top 100 player in the nation. Michigan State has none.
Think about that. That feeds my fire of what I was saying before. I don't think people, in particular Michigan fans, I don't think they realize how almost Lion-esque this roster is in terms of talent.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think that they realize
So the only people who are going to be talking about Michigan and Michigan State this year are going to be people who follow Michigan and Michigan State. There's going to be no national storylines unless Harbaugh gets fired or something like that. But other than that, we can skip this season.
Yeah, absolutely. The Athletic reporting Cade McNamara will be the starting quarterback against Western Michigan in the season opener. So, that's where it's going to be.
All right, and we haven't had Cade McNamara Heisman talk yet.
No, but it's not October though either.
No, they do that in September. By
late
October,
September,
he would have lost his job.
Back. Yeah, the September Heisman.
When did Joe Milton lose his job?
I don't know, but they were saying the same thing about him in September.
Yeah,
Joe Milton.
Oh my God!
They had a
Joe
run
Milton
of
is going to be the
Heisman
guy.
Winners, Denard Robinson, Joe Milton. There were a lot of September Heisman
the little running
winners.
back, McGuffey.
Sam McGuffey.
Oh my God, this guy was supposed to be. And then there was a quote from somebody about Joe Milton. They went, Joe Milton or Patrick Mahomes? I don't know. I don't know who I'd pick. Maybe Mahomes. Maybe. But Michigan has won a bunch of September Heismans.
Yes, they certainly have. Well, big thank you to everybody that interacted with the show on the chat boards, the messages, and all that stuff. T-Foss, big thanks to you, brother. I love running with you, man.
I had a blast.
Yeah, I love running
Thanks
with you.
for hosting me.
Yeah, absolutely. Fish, good work out of you, I guess. Art, good work out of you too, man. Give you the big thumbs up, no doubt about it. Make sure you download that Woodward Sports app in the App Store, the Google Play Store as well. Take us with you wherever you go. So for T-Foss, my name is Neil Rule. Thanks for watching Big D Energy, everybody. Well, see you later.
Dude.